Hello friends, welcome to Java Swing tutorial. So in this video we are going to start the implementation for drag and drop between two JLists. So first we will prepare the UI, and this video is for preparing the UI. So here we will create this toolbar. Then we will add these 4 toggle buttons. Then we will create JList 1 and JList 2, of course, with these JList items. So these are all the slides from the previous parts. So this tells what are all the UI components used, and this is required for this video. So if you see here, to quickly review it, we will create a toolbar. This one is the frame window. We will attach a toolbar to this frame window, and to the toolbar we will create JToggle buttons, and we will group those toggle button under a button group so that you can toggle only one button at a time. So when you toggle some other button, the previously toggled button goes to the original state, that means the untoggled state. So only one button will be in the toggled state in this 4. Then we will create two JList, and if you see here, there is a J panel, and that J panel uses a grid layout. Then we will add two JList to that J panel. J panel will get added to the frame window. So we also talked about transfer handler in the previous video. In this video, we are not going to implement a transfer handler. We will just implement the UI part. Now let's go to the Eclipse demo. Here, if you see, our Eclipse is ready with the basic files. We have main entry.java. Here we create our frame window, and this one is our frame window. So creating a frame window is already explained in the very first video in this video series. So we are taking that as a base, and we will continue from that base. So the window looks like this. Of course, in each video we will change the size and position. Then we will change the layout also. Here we are still using the border layout for the frame window. So if you see here, our toolbar contains 4 J toggle buttons. So that's why here we are creating 4 J toggle buttons, and these buttons are from javax.swing package. Button names are selection, on, insert, insert, and on. So if you watched our previous video in this sub-series, you will come to know these are all for the drop options. So since it's a toggle button, you can turn on one drop mode at a time. So these 4 toggle button we will group under this button group, which is from javax.swing package. So we are creating that button group. After that, we added all these 4 toggle button to this button group. Now all these toggle buttons will act as a radio toggle. That means you can turn on only one toggle button at a time. Then we set this selection as the default. That means when the frame window is displayed, by default this toggle button is in the selected state or in the toggle state. So toggle buttons are ready, and the toggle buttons are grouped under the button group. Now Here we are creating the toolbar. JToolbar is from javax.swing package, and we add all our toggle button to the JToolbar. So here we already added our toggle button to radio group so that they act as a radio group. Then we added our toggle button to the toolbar. Now toolbar will contain 4 toggle buttons, and you can turn on only one toggle button at a time since it is grouped under a button group. So toggle button is ready now, and we will add this toggle button to the frame window. So we are making call to add method of the frame window. Then we pass our toolbar and we add this component towards the north. That means in the window the toggle bar will appear in the north. Now let us test this once, and you can see the toolbar is displayed here and it contains 4 toggle button group. And if you see, once I make the selection, now I am clicking the insert, and you can see the toggle state of this selection goes off and insert will be toggled on. So you can see at the time I can select only one in the switched on state. That means here drop mode is set as on, drop mode is set as selection, drop mode is now insert. Like that you can set the drop mode. Next we need 2 JList. So here if you see, we created the JList. So first here we are creating the default list model. So this will serve the data for our JList. So we haven't yet created the JList. We first created the list selection model. So this is for the first JList and this is for the second JList. Then using the add element method, we are adding the elements. So this one is for the first JList and this one is the data for the second JList, and you can see we are using the add element method. So I'm just adding the suppress warnings. So with the Eclipse IDE, you can suppress some of the known warnings. So here you can see it added the warnings so that it won't display that yellow squiggly lines. That will now the code looks clean, but here we know that these warnings won't harm us. So the data for our list is ready. Here we are using the default list model for both the list boxes, which will supply the data. Now we will create our list. Here if you see, first we are creating the JList. We are importing it from javax.swing package, and for the source we are using the list data 1, which you can see a default list model list data 1, which contains source 1, source 2, source 3 up to source 6. These are all the data for our first list, which means the left side list, which is the drag source. So we will use this for demo purpose. Then we are setting the background color also. You can set any background color. Here I am using the color of red, green, blue component I am giving. So this will set some background color to our first source. After that we are setting it as a single interval selection. This is part of the prerequisite. If you watched that prerequisite video, you will understand that. So this will tell that we can select more than one list item, but that should be in the continuous selection. So 2 to 4 I can select in the first, or I can select 4 to 5. I cannot select like this. 1 to 2, then 4 to 5, like that I cannot select, but still we can select multiple, but that should be in a interval, in single interval. Similarly, yeah, first for the source list we are using the border factory. We will import it from java.x.swing, and then we are giving the border factory as a source. That means here we are creating a titled border. So in Windows user knows how a group box look. It will look like that, group box title. Likewise, this one will look. So once we run it, you will come to know. Then similarly, we are preparing the second list box. This one is for the drop target, or for now we are keeping it as a drop target, but we can exchange it. If we drag from list 1 and drop it to list 2, this one will be the source and this one will be the target. And if we do it in the reverse way, then source and target will be exchanged. So instead of naming this as a drag source and drop target, we should have named it as JList 1 and JList 2. But anyhow, for now we will just keep the same name, and it's ditto same like the previous one. And here we doesn't use single interval selection, so we are going with the list default. All right, now okay, before running this, we will create the other class also, so that we can continue from there in the next video. So here I am creating a new class, and superclass I am choosing it as a java.x.swing.transfer handler. This will be the base class. Let me click finish. So this one we will implement later. So if you watched the last video, we talked about a transfer handler, and in the previous video we told this one as ABC, but here we named it as simple list DTS, data transfer manager. So which is derived from transfer handler. We will implement it in the next coming videos. In this video we are just creating the UI. So our frame window is already having the toolbar and toggle buttons. Now we will create the panel. So here I am creating a J panel with a grid layout. So importing it from AWT. 1 row, 2 column. So then we are adding so 1 row, 2 column means there is only 1 row, but there are 2 column. In the left cell we place the source, and in the right cell we place the target JList box. Then we are adding our panel to the frame window. Since a frame window is using the border layout, and since we doesn't specify any border layout location, this panel will be added towards the center. That means it will show 2 list boxes, one in the left, that is source, and one in the right, that's drop location. That means the target list box. So this one we specified snippet 8. So this one we specified as a snippet 8, and we will keep this as a snippet 7. Now we will run this once, and you can see that a toolbar is displayed with all the toggle buttons, and this is our source and destination list. So here you can see it is allowing multiple selection. here it allows single interval. So if I press Ctrl and choose SRC6, it won't get selected. But here I can select multiple, and I can select one more also. So now our UI is ready. From the next video onwards, we will start implementing the drag and drop. So when we talked about the J text field, we made a call to drag enabled to true, and after enabling that, we saw how drag and drop worked for the JList, I mean the J text box. Now we will do this for the JList. So here I kept drag enabled to true for the drag source. Now here I am making some selection. Now I am trying the drag and drop, and if you see, the moment I started dragging, the icon shows that it is not supported. That means we need to implement this data transfer handler. That means the transfer handler. Once we provide implementation, drag and drop will be supported for the JList. So that's what we are going to see in the next coming videos. That's all here. That's all here in this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.